I was throwing a New Year's Eve party with my sister. We lived together and my boyfriend was over early, so it was just the three of us hanging out before the guests arrived. The music was on, the drinks were out, and we were ready for the night. At one point, I went outside to the courtyard to lie on a hammock, and they both followed. So naturally, I thought that my boyfriend would squeeze on my hammock with me because there were only two hammocks. But he didn't. He squeezed on the other hammock with my sister. I just brushed it off, told myself it's fine not to be paranoid. I would talk to him about it later, it's just a bit inappropriate, that's all. Then the party kicked off, and about an hour into it, when I'd only had 2 drinks, I was completely out of it. Like I could barely stand. My vision blurred, I couldn't say what I wanted to say, my speech was just all slurring into one long word. This wasn't alcohol. I know my limits, I know I can handle more than 2 drinks, but something wasn't right. I somehow managed to tell my sister that I needed to lay down, and she helped me to bed. And then just before I knocked out, I asked her to get my boyfriend, and she said, of course. And that's the last thing I remember, until I woke up a few hours later. I was still dizzy, everything was still spinning, but I made my way out into the hallway and noticed there was no music, there was no laughter, it was just quiet. I stumbled into the living room, barely able to hold myself up at this point. And there they were, my boyfriend and my sister, sprawled out across the living room floor on top of the blanket that was from my bed. They were tangled, entwined with each other, so close that they didn't even notice that I'd walked into the room. I screamed at them to get out, and neither of them said a word. They jumped up, avoided eye contact, and left the house like they were caught stealing something. And then I passed out again not long after that. It wasn't until the next morning, when my head finally cleared, that everything had started to make sense. The hammock, the drink, the way I blacked out, the way she was just there when I needed her to take me to bed, the way she said she'd get him, and the way she never did. I realised that something had been put in my drink that night, and I'm almost certain it was my sister who did it. She needed me out of the way so that she could have him. I haven't spoken to either of them since. I didn't even confront her, because you don't reason with somebody like that. And now I'm hoping that they're just rotting in their own guilt, although I'd be surprised if they had any. Happy New Year to me, right?